What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Bourbon and Bullshit podcast with some good friends, great drinks, and a little bit of BS. So grab a seat, pour up something neat, and welcome to the show. Hey guys, so we're going to jump right back into part 2 of Bourbon, BS, and Teaching with our good friend Tia Disa. Hopefully you guys enjoyed part 1. I know that I had a great time recording it, so if you are liking what you're hearing, make sure you like, subscribe, follow us on all socials, and for the uncut and unfiltered edition of this episode with over 35 more minutes of content, make sure you sign up for Patreon. Thanks guys, take care, and we're going to jump right in. You get the littles that you wanted so badly.
I get the littles that I wanted so bad, and I jumped in, and by far it was the hardest fucking year that I've ever had. They were feral. These were the first kids that were back in the classroom after pandemic. Those motherfuckers were feral. I'm talking about kids pissing in the field.
Pissing?
Like,
Wait, excuse me?
You take them out to recess, and these motherfuckers are
What do
just
you mean
like
pissing in a field? I need more. What do you mean? Why is there a field?
Because there's like a yard, like a schoolyard.
Oh, you said a field, like this is a fucking
field.
go out there and be somebody.
Dude, we would send them out, and surely enough, you'd see 2 and 3 kids just whipping it out, sit in the field. They didn't know how to use the bathroom. They didn't know how to. It was every man. They were on survival mode. Like they had just.
Is this
and a lot of them had.
Do you think it's because of the pandemic?
The
like they have just not known better, or oh wait, you said some just arrived in the country, so like they're used to like some third world country shit. Okay.
It was too, and don't get it wrong. Like I mean, I'm looking at a cornfield right now. Like there's.
Oh yeah, you sent me a picture. I have no idea how you live out there.
So no, these kids were feral. They were that first year that when I jumped in, I was like, what in the fuck is happening?
Mm-hmm.
They were on survival mode almost. Like it was every man for himself. They didn't trust each other. They didn't trust me. And they were just trying to survive. Like you can tell that they've been through some shit, either in their journey coming to the United States, or because a lot of them were undocumented, or just like from pandemic, whatever the fuck went on during the pandemic for them, it was showing in the classroom. And I had a giant, like there were like 24 kids in the class, and for kindergarten, that's a lot. So that was a big contrast.
It's wild to me because you are in a rare circumstance where you get for those who don't know and might judge, some of these students are coming from third world countries where pissing in the field or just some unrefined, I guess, more country bumpkin type shit. I'll equate it to someone who's like in the rural areas of like fucking Kansas.
It's just what you do. If you're a boy, you just fucking you whip it out and you pee.
Yeah. Like that shit's normal to a lot of these people in like these countries. So when they come out here, so you have not only people who are learning the language, now have to also learn the culture and etiquette and learn the dynamics of how to interact. And you are at the, like, I would say, the foundation of them getting.
That's exactly what I say.
There is a
we set the foundation for these kids, and it's like it depends on what comes in, right? Like what. Again, each group is different. This group that I have right now, they are really needy. They can't emotionally, like they can't regulate their emotions, and like we've come a long way from the beginning of the school year.
Do you feel almost like a intrinsic, like you're heavily invested in making sure they're successful because you know what they might deal with later on?
Yeah,
like, you know,
100%.
Hey, you're not from here. I need this to work for you. And I know if I don't set you up for success, it's going to fucking suck. Do you feel like you go above and beyond because of it?
You have to. You kind of have to. No, like
to be clear from someone who lives in Florida where the education system here is kind of like check in and check out. I'm being funny. Like I know a lot of educators are caring, but you don't have to. There's a curriculum. You choose to. Let me give you credit where you might not be giving it. You choose to. Because a lot of
I would be doing a disservice. Like, then what the fuck
but
is
you don't have to. Let's be clear and give educators credit where they need it.
I think that's one thing, right? Like, you can jump into education because you like some
because there's a fucking book.
You like, because there's a book to read. Because that's the other thing, right? All the curriculums now they're scripted, and you just read off the
Mhm.
manual, and that's that.
How much further are you
Um,
going than what's set in your lesson plan from the state?
you have to. You
No, no, no,
you
no, no,
have
no, no,
to.
no, no. You feel like you have to. Let's be clear. Legally, do you have to go further?
No,
Okay. So give
no.
yourself
Like if
credit
I stick
because
to the
every single,
script,
I'm just always tired of you teachers not giving yourself credit. I want to be your advocate. I will be the loud, angry person that gives
you
you
know what it
credit.
is. You know what it is that there's so much more
Mm-hmm,
that you
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
want to do, but you're tapped out.
Want and have to. Are by your curriculum, do you have to do what you are doing?
No, of course not.
Okay.
Of course not. There's
So
certain
give
things
yourself
that I
credit.
know I don't.
Give yourself credit and
Um,
give every teacher credit that's going above and beyond. I just want to be that obnoxious cheerleader.
I
That's all I want
appreciate
to do.
that.
I just want to be the obnoxious cheerleader. So every parent who's listening to this was like, my teacher no, they don't have to do shit, bro. The city said this. You are supposed to be the parent, not Tia and
Yeah.
the rest of educators. I just want to give you credit. But
I I take on the role, like my role is to obviously teach them academic content.
mhm.
That's not my priority necessarily.
No, you're teaching them how to be an adult and human being because half their parents
Teaching
don't
them
have the
how to
time
be
to
a
be an adult.
human. Like I just how to be a good person, an efficient person, competent person, right? Like life skills, I think it's my and you have that's the real foundation, right? You have to
There
teach
we
all
go.
of those skills before you can even get into like the academic part of it, right? Like if we don't have any of that,
I
then
could
what the fuck is the point of the rest of it?
when we talk about people being book smart versus like street smart and like
Okay.
street smart almost makes it seem like it's not necessarily academic and nothing that you need for life. It's just how to survive in the hood. Street smart is not surviving in the hood. Street smart surviving with humans,
Yeah,
just other people,
it's
like the real world.
crazy, right? And I'm seeing a lot of that. Like we see a lot of that this year for me.
Mm.
That's the difference between this group this year. They struggle to regulate their emotions. They don't know how to communicate with one another. They don't know how to collaborate with one another. They're entitled. And kids are generally egocentric, right?
Yeah.
But this group is like
Oh, I'm so glad
they're
someone
next
else said
level.
that. Kids are such egotistical little maniacal bastards. Come watch this. I don't want to, but you have to. I don't have to do
Hey,
shit, child. I'm an
look what
adult.
I can do. Look what I did. You didn't do shit. You didn't do
You
shit.
jumped in place. Bitch, that wasn't impressive. Go jump off something. Wait, no, don't. Don't do that. Don't do that. Your parents are going to say I said that. You're going to tell your parents I said to do that. But
Don't do that,
I
guys.
just want to give you credit. I think I have a friend, Andy. I have a couple of friends that are educators and Kathy and all of them. You guys don't get enough credit. So if the Board of Education won't, I'm a small ass podcast, but I'm going to yell to the rooftops that teachers matter more than people give them credit for. So
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. There's a lot of you don't get into education because you want a paycheck. Not because
you don't
because
get
we're
into,
poor.
you don't get into HR because you want a paycheck. Let's be clear here
Yeah.
for anyone who's wondering. Sign up for Patreon here at Bourbon. No, I'm just going. Tia's going to sign up, or because of wedding, feeling like guilt. So, so with that being, and then also at the same time being a parent, are there moments where like you feel like your kid is? You already talked about you give extra lessons. Your sister's tapping in for social studies. You have other. Hey, you might have seen this in school. Let me give you some more. But are there also moments that where you are egregiously aware of the shortcomings and you're like, is there like a daily check-in? What did you learn today? And you fill
There
in gaps
is.
or
And my kids are all a volt, right? So you ask the question, good is all you get.
motherfuckers.
Yeah, that's
My
all
parent
you
never talked to
get.
me. Every time I said, how are you? You said good.
Yeah, no, it's so you don't get a lot. You get a lot by doing, right? Like you work with them, you talk to them, and it has to be on their terms, right? Because when I walk through the door and I go, "Hey, how was school?" It's always good. There's never been a day for any of them, for either one of them, that they go like, "Today was rough," or "I really struggled with this." So I've gotten into the habit of asking really explicit questions. Tell me something funny that happened today. Tell me what game you played in the playground today. Like, who did you play with? What book did you read? What's something that your teacher said that, right, like caught you by surprise or that you remember? Just to get a little bit more information that usually gets them talking, and there you become aware of where the gaps are sometimes. Um, but also just working really closely with the teachers. And I think that I think that doctors and teachers are the hardest people to have. Like as a doctor, having another doctor whose kid you're
Mm, mm,
attending,
mhm, mhm,
it's
mhm,
tough, right? Because they're always diagnosing.
mhm, mhm,
Having a teacher as a parent to write your students
mhm, mhm,
is also tough because you're going in there with a different lens.
mhm, mhm.
So I try to take my teacher hat off.
And your kid's not their only student.
Right. Right.
and
I
their
think that's the biggest part, right?
and
Like
their
I
classroom is
have
not yours.
you do what you have to do in your classroom, right? And I'm gonna trust that you're doing what's best, what's in my kid's best interest, and just keeping that communication open. I think that's the biggest part, like for teachers and parents. I think, like, right, like being on both sides of it. I think that just having open communication with your kids' teachers and teachers having open communication with parents. First of all, once you win over the parents and you have them in your hand and you close them up and you stick them in your pocket, you can do what you want.
This
You do
motherfucker.
whatever you want.
Guys, if you ever
You
want to make it
do.
to the roster of a teacher, no, I'm joking.
It's true, right? Like if you want them to bend to your will, or if you really want them to be in your
she
corner.
she means support. She means support. What she
That's what I
means
said.
is, if you want your parent, the parent of the, fuck it, Ben Tiro, that's fine. I'm not a parent. I don't give a shit what you say.
You need to form what I'm you need to form those relationships, not only with the kids, it's a family thing, right? Like you have to bring the whole family into the mix
Mhm,
because the family is an extension of that kid. And if you don't know what's going on at home, if you don't know, right, like enough about the culture or their customs or like their values, then you won't be able to support the kid
mhm.
in the best way possible. And that is fucking exhausting to do for each individual kid. But you have to get to know them individually if you're trying to really do anything in the classroom.
Yeah. I mean, that's even, look, I'm not a teacher at all. I would never be a teacher. Because fuck them kids. Because that would be way too explicit. Listen, little shit. You can learn Romeo and Juliet or not. I don't fucking
You
care.
can think it, you just can't see it.
Don't say the shit out loud. But I think teachers, part of the reason why I'm such a big advocate, I've been trying to get an educator on here. I have had multiple friends I've reached out to, and they're always cautious, same as you were. Even yours is much less so about anything about like, hey, local school district, you don't live here.
Yeah.
But one of the reasons is I think that you guys deal with a dynamic that no one acknowledges. I think there is a. This is rude. This is rude. I don't care because it's honest. Parents think you should be doing their job for them, and the
A little
kids
bit.
end up being little shits. And the parent turns around and says, "What do you mean my kid failed your class?" It's like, bitch, I teach a lesson. What
But
you?
never mind failure class.
But even then,
Um,
like, just why is my kid a little shit? You tell me. Why is your kid a little shit? I have 30 others. Oh, wait, education funding has gone down. I have 45 others. Hey, oh my God. Half of your kids have been brought up during a pandemic. They don't even know how to talk to people. They might as well hiss at them like a feral creature. I don't
which
know.
what the fuck were you guys not talking to your kids at
Yeah.
home?
And then even more so, your kids think that they're the only ones who exist. So this is very indicative of who you are because you're in my office telling me that you're the only one who
Yeah.
exists, not acknowledging that there are 44 other students who need individual assistance. And I am not necessarily trained to also be their therapist because you have imposed this trauma on them.
Yeah.
As a non-educator and someone who just, does a podcast where I talk about big booty Dominican women controlling my life and everything I like to pour, I also heavily want to become the person who advocates for the fact that you guys don't get credit.
I appreciate that.
Because
I
I think it's unfair. It's like Monday morning quarterbacks. You get all the blame and all the credit, but more so the blame. I think parents will be like, I was such a great parent.
Well, you have a lot of parents who come in and they say some really wild shit to you, right? About
Mhm.
like what their expectation is of
This
my
is
role.
this
And
is
it's
not
like,
Burger King or McDonald's. You can't have it your way, bitch.
I had a parent at the beginning of the school year. Their kid was having a conflict or had a conflict, isolated incident with another child. And the parent came in the very next day and said, hey, I would like for him to be moved. And I was like, I'm not doing that. I want their seat to be changed. And again, I have a reputation already. I'm slowly building a reputation at the school of being like,
The difficult one.
not difficult, but um,
Mm-mm-mm. I don't think you're difficult. They might think you're difficult.
they might think I'm difficult. I'm no nonsense. I'm not gonna sit here and it's not a la carte. I'm not gonna cater to the parents' need necessarily, right? Unless I find that it's necessary for the child, right? Like I do. It works both ways. But I had this parent come in and tell me, like, hey, I need you to change his seat. And I was like, I'm not doing that. Imagine if every time that a kid had a conflict with another child, I changed their seats. We're going to be playing musical chairs all year. And it is a life skill to be able to like deal with those situations. You need to be able to resolve conflicts.
Tell them.
And I encourage the kids to resolve the conflicts on their own. So, like, right, imagine 5-year-olds,
Get
right? They
them.
come over and they go, hey, so and so said this to me. And my first question is 100% of the time is, well, did you like that? No.
Did you tell them?
Okay, my second question is 100% every single time is, did you tell them? No. I need you to go tell them and see, let's see what happens from there. I'm not going to jump in and go like, stop doing this to so and so on the first jump. Why? Because I'm not going to be there every time, right? And it's like, it's your job to learn how to do that in life, not just in kindergarten, like in life, you have to learn how to have those skills and advocate for yourself and go, hey, don't do that anymore. I don't like it. Don't touch me. I don't like it. Don't touch my things. I don't like it. And it's okay, right? And I also go and support the other side of it, right? Because kids aren't used to being held accountable. So I have to sometimes step in and go, like, did you hear what she said? Like she told you that you did this thing. Do you agree? And they go, yeah. And they're always like stunned, right? And it's like, well, what do you think? Right? Like, is that okay? Like, probably not. And it's like, well, what should you say? Like, maybe have a conversation about that. I won't do it again. And it's the only thing that you can do, right? Like, it's the only solution to this problem. But kids have to be explicitly taught how to do that. And if we jump in every time and go, oh, you can't sit next to this kid because you had an issue, then like that's not how life works. You're going to have to work with people that you don't like, people that don't understand you, the people that have different beliefs as you. And it's part of the reason why we're also fucking sensitive right now, because you don't have practice doing that.
There's so many levels to that, right? So I am working in an industry where I do a lot of conflict resolution, right? And the very first question is, are they aware of that this is a concern? Because
Exactly.
and for anyone listening at home, it's like, oh, when you're an adult, that goes away. No, you're all soft. I'm gonna tell you right now, in a corporate setting, you can wear as many suit and ties as you want. You're all soft as baby shit. And
It's crazy.
there is an inherently like I'm a Neanderthal by a lot of means. Like even how I communicate is overly. I had someone describe it as, oh, you lack tact. I was like, oh, you're soft. I feel like we could get much further in life if I just tell you where I stand and all that, but whatever.
What it is. Just tell you what it
But
is.
to your point, that person established a boundary, and then we have to also address, and I love that you brought that up, that we have to address how that person interpreted that addressing of that space. Like, hey,
Hmm.
I don't like that. Let's check in with fucking person number 2 and see how they're feeling about it and how, if they could accurately or not accurately, I guess, constructively interpret that reaction. Talk to person 2. Hey, how do you feel about that? I didn't know. That is one of the best responses. It sounds like benign, like kind of simple, just whatever. That's one of the best responses.
It's so basic. It's so
But
basic. It's such a
it's,
basic thing. And if we all started there, right? Like
yeah,
even from kids, but adults, if we
yeah.
all just started there, it's like, oh,
I didn't know. I didn't know how my actions were being interpreted. That is one of the best foundations of growth. I didn't know versus that's not how I meant, like how I meant it acceptable, obviously. But I don't know why they saw it that way. We got more work here. But I didn't know is perfectly acceptable.
Yeah.
We can talk about this because you are acknowledging the fact that someone else might have a different interpretation of your actions. But I like the fact that you also then go back and be like, hey, Kimmy said she didn't like how you played with her toys. Like, how you feel about that? I didn't know. Like, my bad. Like, I'll do better. That is fucking 1,000,000% better than half the steps
and the
adults
conversations
take.
having among themselves, right? Like, don't tell me that you didn't like what you did. Tell her I didn't like what you did.
I wouldn't have a job in my real 9 to 5 if more teachers did that.
Yeah.
If more people did that, not even teachers, because it's not on you. Once again, it's not on you. If more people taught their kids to acknowledge that space and to accept that hey, look, that's my boundary, bro. Like, chill.
Yeah.
Like, even as grown adults, like, we could fuck around and joke around. And I have friends that are like, hey, don't call me a jerk. That word triggers me. I don't need to know why you established that as a boundary.
Done.
Like, I might want to know why as a friend to support. Like, hey, are you good? Like, what's going on?
What happened there?
Like, what happened there? If you don't feel comfortable, I bet say less. It does not bother me that that's a lie. I can come up with strategically different, unique ways of calling you a piece of shit without calling you a jerk. But I'm saying, like, they're
we can get creative.
I can call you a lot of things. I'm not going to do that today because I don't have enough beeps. But I think that it's cool that you approach it that way because you didn't only address the person that wanted to establish boundary, but understanding that has to be a two-way street in communication. How someone is interpreting that data and that information that's coming to them is
you have
going
to learn
be,
that. Yeah. That's also a learned skill, and a lot of people aren't being taught
that part where you have to take a step back, being comfortable, being uncomfortable.
Right.
No one likes to be told you're the problem.
Exactly.
But it matters. It's important to know when you are the problem. You are not godsend. You are not perfect. No one is perfect. You have to understand where your interpretation of things might not align with someone else's.
Right.
It's going to help you in life.
Right. So that's like, that's been my big thing. My big thing in the classroom, and I take pride in it, is building community. We're all here to help each other. There's no gatekeeping. We're not like, there's not a hierarchy here. If I did something that you didn't like, call me out. If I hurt your feelings, call me out. And if you hurt my feelings, I'm going to tell you, I didn't like what you did. And even like, and having that conversation, like for kids to have that conversation with an adult, especially among the Hispanic community, can be really uncomfortable, right? Like, they're like, I don't understand. Like, you are señora, right? Like, you're la maestra.
Bro, we don't have enough time in the world for that. But unpacking how like Hispanic communities, like, this is authoritarian. Like, this is it. This is end all be all. This is goddess. This is the end all be all for teachers, depending on who you are.
Exactly. And I see that from the parents. Like, the parents are like, Señor, like, what do I do? And it's like, dude, that is your child. That is your child.
Maestra, doctora, like, there's this like whole like fucking holier than thou, which is something I wish more people would adopt. I'm not saying any culture is
to a certain extent, to a certain degree.
Yeah, 100%. I want to give that caveat. Like, it's just, there's a level of understanding that I am not against you. I'm trying to support you.
Right.
Like, this is not a you versus me. Exactly. I get them for 8 hours a day. You get them for their life. I get them maybe a year. You get them forever. Exactly. I'm not getting paid buku bucks. I literally care about these kids.
Here because I want to be, guys.
Yeah, and that's my point. Like, I feel like there's so many times that people forget that, like, they have a job to do. They get paid. They also have second jobs because they can't get paid much.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
Understand that teachers didn't get here because this is a lucrative job like Elon Musk and Doge. We're not going to do that today. That's a different episode.
Please don't.
There's not a lucrative job here. This is not something that, I might as well have won the lottery. People aren't vying. Educators are the all-time demand. Nurses are in demand. Like, these are professions that need a literal desire to be that fucking basically sounding board, punching bag, catalyst for growth. There's a lot of things that come with
so many hats. You wear so many hats as a teacher.
I could be their best friend, their guidance counselor, their therapist, their part-time parent. I can't do as much as you. You have them for the rest of the day. why are you coming at me? And there are sometimes that you have to kick it back to parents.
And I'm good at that.
No,
I love that part.
there we go. This is our last question is, listen here, you little shit. Has there been a moment? Yeah. Yeah. For those who are first time listeners, I like to theme my questions around something I find insanely interesting or like little just fucking sounding things. Listen here, you little shit. Have you ever looked at a student and said, okay, listen here, and said, this is the parent problem, but a kid that stood out like, I don't want this motherfucker in my life. Like, it was just like, I'm fucking done. I'm fed up. The worst, quick of a worst case scenario with the kid. Or funny. It could be funny. It could just be a kid who shit his pants. Shouts to Mikey.
True story. You block it out a little bit like having like childbirth, right? Where you do it and then you forget, kind
Are you
of,
saying
right? And
PTSD, bro?
you restart and you're like, oh, this group is worse than the last. No, there was one kid, and there's one kid every year, but there's one kid
You were
on my
rocking
at
back
my.
and forth. Are you okay about this
I
kid?
know, right?
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
what in the Hannibal Lecter? What was this kid? Where did he hurt you?
There was one kid, my first year teaching here in Maryland. Super smart kid.
Hmm.
Again, he was really attention hungry.
Hmm.
And you can tell that at home, he was, I mean, just everybody revolved around him. And this is towards the end of the school year. I like to do fun hands-on shit with the kids. So we had done a study. We decided to do a study on ice cream, right? Because why not?
Yeah.
And we made ice cream in the classroom. And part of the deal was we're going to make ice cream and then we're going to have an ice cream party. Towards the end of the day, now this kid had really been, I mean, he'd been on a fucking roll all week, just pissing everybody off. He was fucking, he was rude, like just a bunch of stuff. Um, and towards the end of the day, he did something unsafe, right? And that's where I draw the line. Once you make others feel unsafe,
Hmm.
that's where I'm like, done. He threw something at another kid and he just missed them by a little bit. But I was like, you're done. You will not participate in this. And for me to take a kid out of an activity, like I don't do that. I don't like to single out kids. I don't like to exclude them from things, especially if it's like fun shit. But I really needed to make an example. I really needed to prove my point and like just let him know that I meant business. Like that was, you crossed the line.
Okay.
So I excluded him and everything seemed fine, right? Like at first he was obviously upset, but I had, and when I say excluded, it's not like you're gonna go sit in the corner and watch everybody else eat ice cream. It's like he was removed from the classroom with a group of other students and they did a fun activity in a different class, right? That's what I mean. It's not he was sitting in the corner just fucking watching everybody, just like, oh, ice cream's so good. Um, at the end of the day during pickup, right? Once he realized that the shit was over and everybody else had had their ice cream and he was reintegrated into the classroom and it was time to dismiss, he had a shit fit. And the person that
Really?
comes to pick him up came to pick him up, and it wasn't a parent. And he refused to leave to the point that I had to call the parent and go, he's refusing to move. When someone came in and physically lifted him up and removed him from my classroom and took him home, his mom came back to the front office, to the principal and the assistant principal about 15 minutes after dismissal. And he had told his parent that I had put my hands on him. And needless to say, needless to say, just how upset I was with the whole thing, right? And I was ready, right? Because I never back down from, especially a situation like that. And but it was a hard conversation, right? Because now it's hearsay. And luckily, there were other teachers in the room with me. There were other students in the room with me, so I wasn't concerned about that part. But it was like moving forward, we still have several months
With this kid.
with this kid in my class of me having to have a relationship with this parent to some extent. And what does this look like moving forward? And for my administration, right? Like for my supervisors, my principal and assistant principal, that's not like a stain that I want on my record
No, you don't.
of them even like right, like just even the accusation of it was ridiculous to me, but I didn't want that on me. So I went and I had this conversation. I meet with everyone, right? The mom and the administration, and I'm having this conversation with the parent, and the parent, the kid's there, and she's like, "Stop crying. I'm gonna go buy you ice cream." And I'm explaining to her, like, "Listen, this isn't. I don't like doing this." And I had to hold him accountable for his actions, right? Like, this is something that we had spoken about before. This is an isolated incident. And he was not being safe. He could have hurt someone. And that's where I have to draw the line, right? I have to keep the rest of the students safe because their parents are trusting me to do that. And she was not trying to budge. Like she was like, but how could you keep him from eating the ice cream? And it was all about the ice cream. And he's sitting there like, yeah, my ice cream. And then I was like, don't worry, papi. Yo te voy a comprar un helado. And she's like, and it was total disbelief, right? That you can see your kid being a total asshole and and being mean, right? Like being mean spirited. And at some point, I knew that she didn't believe that I had actually put my hands on him. It was all about me excluding him from this activity. And it was so like first of all, I don't do activities like that anymore.
No more ice cream
After
parties.
that, yeah.
He fucked up ice
No
cream
more
parties
ice cream.
for the crew.
Yeah. No, I don't exclude
I'm gonna call him
kids.
Jacob. Fuck you, Jacob. We want ice cream parties.
It was really like it was eye-opening for me in the sense of like I know that I need to cover my ass, right? And you have to eat a little bit of shit. And it's unfortunate, right? Because had my administration been different, had they not known me as well as they did, had they not observed me and just known where my moral compass or where, like whatever, had they doubted me for a second, that shit could have gone left.
Yeah.
And it was really something, right? So there's certain things where if there's not another adult in the room, I don't engage, right? Like I make sure that certain conversations only happen with
Witnesses.
some with a witness, which I was already pretty guarded about that to begin with. But this was one of those situations where I was like, this blows. This blows, and it shouldn't be this way.
That's sad, right? Like
Yeah.
I tell anyone, I guess I was gonna say leadership roles, but anything where you are in a place where you have influence or impact on someone, whether it's their career or not, especially in my role, I try to tell people all the time, short and breathe, just cover your ass, CYA,
Yeah.
cover your ass. And it sucks because there's a benefit. I'm going to speak to the opposite. There's a benefit to accountability now. People are like, oh, and all these claims of these negative interactions or racism and all that stuff, that never happened back in my day. Back in the day, I had to mail you something and hope that in 5 to 12 business days, you would get that letter. The reason why there's no accountability, there wasn't as much accountability is that people didn't have that back in the day.
Right.
There's an aspect of it which is beneficial. I didn't know what was going on in Kansas 10 years ago, 15 years ago.
Exactly.
Now I know within 30 seconds of it going down. I think it was, what was it? Where was that boat thing where people got beat with a chair and all that shit?
Was it Louisiana?
No, I think it was like
it
Alabama
Louisiana.
or one of those ones.
Maybe, yeah.
Someone looked at, I wish I had a producer. Hey, no. Where did the boat thing happen? I'm going to look this up in real time. But my point, fuck it. We're pause for a second. Where did people get hit with a chair on a boat?
Happy Black History Month, everyone.
Happy Black History Month. Because that was like a bat signal near boats. Near boats. Shouts Uncle Nearest. This happened at Riverfront in Montgomery, Alabama. That made fucking sense in 2023. Right. Oh, yeah. I was like, I feel like it's Alabama. It feels really Alabama-ish.
It does feel really Alabama-ish.
But the reason why things like, it didn't mean that those things weren't happening. There's an accountability now because of how readily available information is. So, yeah, that's a good thing. But there's also a detriment, right? Like there are motherfuckers running around there like every single thing has to be watched. You have to be careful because minor interaction could be photoshopped and moved and fucking clipped to fulfill
It's
someone's
terrifying.
narrative. Yeah, it's scary.
Mhm.
Every interaction.
That could have been my whole career, right? Like you
Yeah.
work so hard for something to get paid pennies, and then you have this fucking kid just come and be like, she put her hands on me, and I'm like,
Yeah. And because
what the
kids
fuck?
there other kids in the room are this kid's best friend, or they love how funny he is, or they don't want to be the cool kids. Everyone suddenly collaborates a story.
Yeah.
And it's, oh my God, yeah, she did. And you're like, what the fuck? There's cameras in here. I know I didn't. Like,
Yeah.
it's scary, man. Like, it's a frightening moment. And even more so why I give you guys praise as much as I do. Like, there is a thankless job where you are blamed for everything but thanked for nothing. When someone, this is fucked up, someone's going to hate me for it. When someone survives a surgery and someone says, thank God, it's like he didn't have gloves on, did he? Dr. So-and-so did. So let's be really careful who you're thanking. That's my moment of zen for ya.
I mean, like the other side of that coin is the parents who do acknowledge the work that you do with their kids,
Yes.
right? Or all the growth their kids do.
Oh, yeah.
And those are rare, right? Like those parents are rare and far apart, but that's kind of what
Regionally specific.
yeah, right? Like that's kind of what keeps you going. Right?
Yeah.
Those kids. I had a kid who last year who used to lose his shit. He just didn't know how to communicate his emotions, and he would lose his shit, trash my room, and trash my room. And a couple of months in, it was a different child, right? And it was just like I made a connection with him, and he was able to communicate with me. And his mom was really hands-on. She was really great, and that, right, like that keeps you going, right? The same way you have those kids whose parents trying to buy them ice cream because they were a dick at school. And you have those other parents who are like, we don't know what we would do without you, right? Like, thank you so much for everything you do.
To this day, one of the funniest things, it's like, I hate you, Mom. That's not happening in the Dominican house. I'm sorry. At least when I was a kid, I'm going to get punched in the face.
Yeah, you have a busted lip so fast.
Yeah, and no one's going to ask me the next day, it's like, did your mom hurt you? Yes, because I was a piece of shit. No one calls DCF. That's a generation.
You knew better. You get your ass whipped for that.
I'm going to get hit again. I don't want to. And it's not a negative thing. Shut up. For anyone who's like, oh, you should put him on timeout. Timeout didn't work.
No, I'm currently in the timeout era, and my kids don't give a fuck.
All you did was give them a break from you. There's no benefit. The fuck did you accomplish?
Give a fuck.
Yeah, we're not doing it. I'm not a parent. Not a parent, because I would be an asshole parent. The moment my kid says, I hate you. Well, I didn't want you, Mistake.
I still haven't had a kid say it, so my streak is good. There's still plenty of time. Don't
You're
get me
not
wrong.
my friend. You're 100% right. I pay the bills. Shut the fuck up and do what I ask. Like, I'm not your friend. I guess you're my employee now. Go do the thing I told you to do.
There you go. You live here, you're mine.
Yeah. Guess what? Property. We're not doing that. That's not in this month, at least. Where am I write that down somewhere? Delete that. But all right. So, any advice for that was the most out of pocket thing I've said all episode. It was just really out of 17. Delete. 3/5 compromise. Like. So, the key word in starting every new segment. Any advice you would give to anyone trying to get into teaching, or shit, just a word for parents?
Don't. No.
To both? Don't be a teacher and don't be a parent. All right, guys. Have a good night.
Abort mission. No, my son's going into teaching.
Not in Florida.
Too soon. My oldest is going into teaching, and when he first told me, yeah, no, that was my question. That exactly was my question. Jaden decided, he was coaching a swim team, and he decided to go into teaching, and he was like, something clicked, and I really enjoyed this. And I'm like, wait, think about it. You're going to be broke, and you're going to be living here forever, and your life is going to be full of stress, and you're going to be working a lot outside of work hours.
You had to live in babysitter, though, at least.
I mean, do I? Do I?
They're all going to learn how to swim because they're going to follow him around, I guess.
They will. They will. That they will. They'll all be good swimmers. but no, my first piece of advice for him was make sure that you love it because there's so many parts of it not to love that you really have to be in it for the right reasons. It can't be for the pay because you're not getting that.
Mm-hmm,
It can't
mm-hmm,
be for the summers off because that ain't shit, right? Like it's not worth
mm-mm,
the trouble that you go
mm-mm.
through. And you just really you really have to be sure of why you're going into it, whether that's to support children in finding themselves, whether it's to teach life skills. Um, but I think that that's the first thing that we do. I think that there's a lot of
You
right,
gotta love
like
it.
teaching. You hear teaching, and you're like, okay, math, science, reading, social studies. But I think that that's secondary.
Mm-hmm.
I think the first thing that we do is teach them how to be human, how to be good humans, how to be part of our society, good citizens. And I think that's our main job and our main purpose. And everything else is secondary. And
Okay.
sure, you're going to learn how to read to to the best of your ability, and you're going to learn math to the best of your abilities.
Man, you're
But
still
being
very
a
good
good
looking.
human, you're going to need forever, right? Like you might not need math for whatever you do. If you're picking shit up and putting shit down, you might
Mm-hmm.
not need math, but you will need to be a good human and a part of this civilization and society.
Okay. And to the parents, one last message to them.
Fuck, just let your kids, allow your kids to be independent. Encourage them to be independent. It's okay to let them struggle a little bit. You don't have to do everything for them.
Okay.
Um, Productive struggle is good. It's gonna build character. It's gonna make them better. It's gonna help them persevere. And we can't
Productive
always step in.
struggle.
Productive struggle. That's what we call it. It's a
All right.
productive struggle when you're figuring things out, when you're problem solving for yourself. It's okay to let them kind of work through that. Figure it out.
Okay. I like that shit. I'm gonna write that down. Productive struggle. I wonder how that would look in like New Roman's font on my tattoos. I'm just. That's dope. I like that. I think that's a really key learning point for a lot of parents. Like, let them fuck up. Let them learn.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It,
They might
it
set some
really
shit
is
on fire. It's
okay.
fine. Have a fire extinguisher.
It's okay. It's okay. They're gonna learn from it. Obviously, you don't want your kid to fail, but that's also part of it, right? Like there's so much learning that
I
happens
want them to fail
when
while it doesn't matter.
right,
Yeah.
right.
I want them to fail while there's a safety net behind them. Like, hey,
Exactly.
oh, you fucked all that up. Hey, guess who's here to make sure you don't die about it? Like,
I have a philosophy, right? And I'm in this unique spot of raising right now
why do you say
because
raising like they don't live in their
I'm
house? Like,
no, because like I'm thinking Jaden, right? Jaden's an adult technically. He's 20 years old. He's off
he's
at
not an
college.
adult.
He's got a right. So I I have this
He
theory.
can't even drink it.
Right. Well, I mean,
We're
technically.
Dominican, so he drank at 12. It's fine. Go on.
He didn't. He was such a good boy. He was not even
That's
my child. He's
so
such a good kid.
Who's his parent?
I don't know how
Did you do
I
a DNA
produced
test
him.
after he came out of you?
He really is the model kid. He did not prepare me for the other two. The other two, wait for it, right? We'll follow up on the other two in the future,
Fucking feels
and
like you're about to
I'll
get
update you on how that's
all the
happening.
negative
They
shit you
are,
did is gonna come back into two.
dude. They are their mother's child. Jaden is not.
Jaden's
But like,
Roman's child by
wait,
proxy. Like,
seriously, I swear. I mean, seriously, it's weird.
mhm.
Um, Raising shit. I forgot my point. Oh, I have this theory of like, this is the time. So Jaden's in his 20s. He's away at college, and we support him in every which way or form. Jaden works for himself. He makes his own money. If he's gonna go fuck around and he has money to spend, then it's coming out of his earnings, right? Like I'm not
Mhm.
anything school related. Obviously, I'm putting in and I'm helping with that. But we gave him the license to kind of this is your time.
Fuck up
You
now.
are you are like an adult in practice. You are technically and legally an adult, right? Like you can serve in the military, you can do certain things, you can vote, but this is the time where you will have a safety net. You can adult as much as you can while still having us here to catch you, right? Like
Yeah,
this
fuck
is
around
your
and find
dress
out, Sage.
rehearsal.
This
Yeah, it's a dress rehearsal for adulting. And that's kind of the approach that we've taken with that. Um, fuck up now. Fuck up now.
yeah.
We still got you. Don't wait till you're 30 and 40 to fuck up and have a couple of kids or, an ex-wife or whatever. Like do it now. We've we've got you.
We're back at this high school sweetheart shit too. Like a little bit. Like this is the time you should be fucking around and finding out. There's gonna be at least two people who's like, I've been in a committed relationship since I was 13. And it's like,
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
dumb. Because she's looking up some shit on Reddit you don't need to know about, fam.
Right.
It's gonna hurt
Yeah.
your feelings real quick.
I have, yeah. No, my advice to all young people is go ho. I'll
Go
leave you with those.
ho.
Those are my parting words. Go ho.
My advice in to this is gonna fuck it, I'll say it. One of the things I told my friend John, he's like, hey man, like I know that you've been promiscuous and doing what you want and blah blah. Like, don't you get lonely? It's like that's literally the exact opposite of my business plan. He's like, what? I was like, I could always tag someone in. There's never a moment of loneliness. If someone's busy, I just tag someone else in. And he's like, that is shit. So while you're young, go ho, Rosanna. That was
Go ho.
14 years ago. Mind your business. My point is that you
Roman's gonna love that because I literally said those words to him earlier.
go ho. You need to go ho. Whether it's like,
Go ho,
and go
guys.
ho's not just sexual for you closed-minded motherfuckers. Just go do stupid shit. Go have fun. Go experience the
This
things
is the time.
that when you're 50 and your hips hurt, you can't go do and you're going to regret never doing it. Do this shit early on. Have your parents behind you. And I understand that not every family dynamic has that parent
Yeah.
back to be able to support that. Sometimes you got to be an adult. You might
Mm-hmm.
need to fuck around later on, but make sure that you give yourself the ability to make mistakes if you can. And I'm not a
Yeah.
parent, but I think that my mom, as much as I want to yell at her all the time and she pisses me off, gave me plenty of rope to hang myself with, kind of. She's like, hey, yeah, have all your friends over. Have a bunch of random people at the house. Oh, there's a girl in your house at like 1 a.m. in her underwear? That's fine. That's cool.
I didn't see anything.
I didn't see anything. Just walk away. And it was like, 'cause she knew I wouldn't be doing anything stupid. Like I wouldn't do anything
Right.
dumb. I was responsible. And the more like, at least not every kid's the same. For me, the more freedom you gave me, the more responsible I became. So there were many moments I'm like, I got a good thing going. I'm not trying to fuck up that dynamic.
Was trying to fuck up all.
Yeah, this is, yeah. Yes. And for bonus features, at some point, we will bring her back on where she talks about all the things she fucked around and found out about.
Oh, that's gonna be a long one.
Oh, it's going to be a long one. But guys, we are wrapping up. Tia, always a fucking pleasure getting to connect with you.
I love you to death. I always tell you randomly in my yearly post to you or my yearly message, I love you to bits and pieces.
Bro, she did text me recently. And I was like, it made me genuinely smile because I was stressed out with a bunch of other shit. She's like, hey,
Aw.
I don't listen to it, but I see the shit you're doing. I appreciate you. I support you. I love the shit you're doing, blah, blah, and just I miss you and love you, blah, blah. It's like, what the fuck happened here? And it was, she didn't know this, but it was like, I was stressed the fuck out. And to see that, I was like,
Aw.
but my suspicious self with like, the fuck is this about? What, you need money? I'll send you
It's
the money.
genuine. It's always
No,
genuine.
I know.
It's
I know, but when you know when
100%
you're,
of the time. It's a moment that I've had and I go, okay, don't let the moment slip away. And I try to always reach out. When I feel that, I try to do it in real time.
and what happened? Because I remember you telling me, but just for the people at home, like,
Nothing. And nothing happened. Nothing happened. I just had a memory of a very difficult time in my life and how you just showed up. And I don't think you understood at the time just how valuable that was for me and how I needed that sense of normalcy at the time. And I like literally you didn't do anything that you wouldn't have done on any other day. You
for
just
you.
literally showed, yeah, you just literally showed up and like, well, okay, my dad had passed away and it was tough. And I remember you guys showed up to the funeral home and it was just the moment that I needed. Like I needed you guys there to remind me that life goes on, that I'm going to be okay, and that I have such a loving, supporting
Group of
just
friends and everything.
community. Yeah, a group of friends around me. It was great. Flashback, like I just had a memory,
Are you
and
getting
I was like,
teary
I
eyed,
need.
bro?
No,
Like,
I'm not. I'm not. I'm good.
that's
And I
not the
had to
first show
message
someone's
you.
cried on, so it's fine. No,
I
it's-
had to let you know that I appreciate that because I don't know, right? Like it's been forever, but I don't know that I
yeah,
ever said that to you of how valuable that
yeah.
time was and how much it meant to me that you guys were just there for me.
The realest thing I tell you is that like it wasn't some, I because of I care because I cared about you. You're one of my closest friends in the world. I wouldn't hesitate in the world if you tell me right now, hey, I need you here. Yeah, because I'm going over there. I'm just gonna fucking back up. I gotta
Believe that.
take some
I do
Xanax real
believe
quick
that.
and just fucking get drunk and let's fucking go. I'm on the plane.
Let's
Someone
go.
gotta
Let's
pick
get
me
on
up
this
because I'm
flight.
drunk. I can't feel my toes. Is this normal? Like, and Spirit Airlines holding up the baggage stuff. No, fuck Spirit. They're not a sponsor. They will never be a sponsor. I don't need to be charged. All I'm saying is, like, I think you didn't even understand when you sent that. I was like, that means a lot, bro. Because I'm not nice to people that I care about because it benefits me. I
Right.
feel like there's no way of saying without. I'm just good to people because it's the right thing to
The
do.
right thing to do.
Like like there's no fucking logic to it other than if I care about you, why wouldn't I be good to you?
I'm right there with you.
Like
Yeah.
I've never
And I
understood.
think if there were more of that, we'd have a lot less issues in the world.
I never understood when people were like, "Well, relationships need a dynamic." What do you mean? If I've decided this is a friendship, there's no dynamic. That's it. That is
That's what it is.
the crux. That's my friend. Like I never
Yeah.
understood. You didn't talk to me for like 2 years. In my head, I was like, "Oh, we're still friends." 5 years. I know.
5 years.
I was trying to give you credit, but if you're gonna put it in the camera,
I have to be honest.
yeah, she went through some shit because it wasn't me. I was still friends with you.
Wait a minute.
I was still friends
We'll
with you.
unpack this later.
I was still friends with you.
Okay.
Did I hesitate?
You didn't hesitate.
Not once did I be like, "Hey, let's talk." No,
You didn't hesitate. I was going through a life change.
I'm just
I'll own
saying,
it.
I was friends with you. Hey, she needs space.
I should have communicated better.
But my point is,
We-
I was always like, "Oh my no, I love that's one of my best friends in the world. I love her to death. She can call me in 10 years. I got her. That's just who I am. When I've established that person is my person,
Yeah.
then my fiance's fucked. If she ever leaves me, that dude's life is gonna suck because I will be there like, "Hey man, you didn't cut the grass, bro. Like, what's wrong with you?
Do you need some help?
Like, you know that she can't even carry that shit. What's wrong with you? The fuck's wrong, bro? You better move." Like,
Love that though. I love that. That's what it should be. And I think that when you care about someone, that is what it. And
Yeah.
I love that you're saying that because even in romantic relationships, sometimes it's like, oh well, fuck her, right? And it's like you can't spend this much time building with someone and becoming so close and getting to know someone so intimately, and then at the end, right? If it runs its course, then
short of
be
some negative.
hostile.
In fairness, in the situation, hey, let's say someone fucking dynamic changes and she changes the dynamic as a person, but some people just fall out of love.
Yeah.
In that situation, hey, we fall out of love. I still got you all day. You can be like, I could still be your emergency contact. I don't sleep anyway, bro. It's fine.
I always tell Roman that our divorce is gonna be phenomenal.
Oh,
We're
I
gonna
told
have
her.
the best
I
time.
told her if I died, I would haunt her and make sure that no guy could ever get hard around her again. That's a goal. That's an afterlife goal. You're never gonna have it. I never said I would want her to move on. I just said,
Rosanna, if you're in trouble, just let us know. Blink twice.
I'm not that guy, but I will fucking haunt her. I just start moving shit around the house like that doesn't even go there, and you know that.
That's great.
Just being an obnoxious
That's
ghost.
great.
But no, like that friendship lasted a while, and I do want to reiterate that, like, there are, as a teacher, that who you are as a human being just kind of personified into an educational purpose, and how what dynamic was with the students, where you treated them like adults and wanted to shape them and all that because that's what you wanted for you and that's what you found value in you. It does suck that parents don't always give that credit where it's due. But running low on time, we got to wrap up because I know you got a whole ass family waiting and Roman's probably running around like, this is crazy.
Yeah, he's probably tied up upstairs.
Yeah, he's probably, wait, like physically tied up? Like, what does happen? What happens?
You can never be too sure with those girls.
Yeah. Outside of wishing Roman could beat me in fantasy football, which isn't going to happen all the time. Do you have any closing words for people listening at home, or any last tidbits of advice?
I think right now I'm all about live and let live. I think that's my mantra right now. Do what makes you happy. Life
Okay.
is too short. Do what makes you happy. Do what fills you with joy, and be kind.
Okay. I respect that. I think that's an important thing to, like, just fucking do the right thing. Treat people like human
Do
beings.
the right thing.
And at the end of the day, don't be dicks to each other. Because I think too often we talk about like people who just don't accept differences around each other. Really fucking dumb.
Yeah.
Guys,
Agreed.
if anything you take from closing of this episode, make sure that you thank your teacher. Don't give them an apple. Give them a gift card to wherever they can buy alcohol at.
Give them money.
Yeah.
And no more mugs. For the love of God, we don't need any more cups. Please don't give your teacher a cup. Those are my parting words. Don't give your teachers any more cups. We don't need any more cups. We have cups.
I appreciate that. I respect that. Give them a gift card to Chili's where they can get like $2 tequila margaritas. Do something else. Something where they can get drunk. Because your kid's a dick. You might not know this. Your kid's a dick. Listen, I'm gonna get right to the camera. You might think your kid's an angel. They're a dick.
I'm glad you said it. I can't say it.
See
your kids are lovely.
See this
They're
eye
little
contact?
angels.
No. They're a dick. Your kid's a dick.
Your little blessing has made
You know
me
what the
work
blessing
home.
is? That they go home. That's the blessing. Fuck your kid. Fuck Timmy. All jokes aside, if you guys do like what you're listening to, once again, for anyone who's listening to the show, I thought this was about bourbon, whiskey, and the bottles are a catalyst. I'll put all the nerd shit in there for you for the bottles that we featured. Today we drank Angel's Envy, which seems to be a very big fan favorite because of its palatability and being able to be utilized in cocktails and sipped in regular everyday basis. So I will give you that for those nerds who want to hear more about the Angel's Envy distillery I think they're in Louisville. Yeah, they're in Louisville, downtown Louisville, Kentucky, where's their main distillery. We'll talk about that, but this is a catalyst for good conversation, to giving highlights and time for those people who are doing jobs or hell, just have a great story to tell. But if you like what we are doing now that Tia has even noticed that show exists, like, subscribe, follow us on Instagram.
I will.
Bourbon_and_BS. I swear to Christ, if I check after this show and you are not following me, we are fucking having a problem. I'm going to redo a wedding. You're inviting me to this one. It's just me, you, and Roman and the kids. Go ahead. Say you do. Go ahead.
So subscribing right now.
And this is a labor of love for the time being as we look into getting more support going forward. So if you are liking what we're doing, make sure you sign up for Patreon. Even $1 a day gives you exclusive access to This Round's on Me, Whiskey Minutes, and any uncut, unfiltered episodes, including video behind the scenes of every episode we do. If you guys want that, it's on there. And we also take suggestions. If you have people you want us to interview or topics you want us to discuss, it's only on there for Patreons first and foremost. And that's all about it. Be good to each other. Don't be dicks. And if your kids are little assholes, make sure that it's not the teacher's fault. Maybe you should look around why your kid's a dick. Agnes. Bye, guys. Hey, guys. Today's episode is brought to you by Burn, Termite, and Pest Control. I first met Joe Byrne on Full Frontal Nerdity Show and decided to give his company a try. They have been the best pest service I've ever had. From flexible scheduling, attention to detail, fair pricing, and everything you love about a small business, I highly recommend Joe Byrne and Burn, Termite, and Pest Control. It's a family-owned and operated business with over 30 years of experience in termite and pest. You can reach Burn, Termite, and Pest Control at 321-297-7985. Once again, 321-297-7985. And let them know Bourbon and Bullshit sent you. Thanks, guys. See you next time.